This video is dedicated to Jodie Eastop. When you're handed a challenge, instead of sitting there and complaining about it, why not try to make something beautiful? Ariana Grande. We've had a lot of interesting experiences on the boat. We have taken on swing bridges, where there's a really low bridge across the canal and you have to get off and manually pull the bridge across. There was one swing bridge that was over a lock, which made no sense. So we had to go in the lock, and then as the lock was filling, we were just going to get smushed by this bridge, so we had to swing the bridge around first. We have come 100 miles from London. We're in Devizes. Canal River Trust has this thing called the 7 Wonders of the Waterway, and we're going through one of them today. It's called the Cane Hill Flight, and over the next 6 hours, we're going to be that sounded like a really long YouTube video. And over the next 6 hours, you'll be watching me in real time. We're going to spend 6 hours today going 2 miles. And the reason that we're going that slowly is because we're going through one of the 7 Wonders of the Waterway, the Cane Hill Flight, which is a flight of locks. It's like a staircase, just one lock after the other. We're going through 28 locks today. And then we're there. This is the finale of our trip, the 28 locks. And once we've gone through them all, we can commute into Bath and Bristol. We will have made it to our new home for the summer. We have this thing called the Nicholson Guide, which is like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but for canals. It's got maps of every route and it tells us where the locks are, where the water points are. It gives us little charming descriptions of each place that we go through. This is what an average set of locks looks like. There's a bit of space, there's 3 or 4 on the page. We are in Devizes right now. Hamilton should not be left alone to his devices. This is what the locks look like on the Devizes section of the guide. Those are all locks. There's a lot of locks all in a row. The Nicholson Guide also provide a picture of what we're in for today. Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it? What are you making for breakfast, lover?
Portobello mushroom and avocado and supposed to be crispy chickpeas, but they're not the crispiest.
You know how I like to collect things, right? Like, you know, Pokemon and Life Scouts and all those sort of things. I love stuff where you have to collect a lot of things. They have these little brass plaques for every canal and river. So I just got one for the canal that we're on now. It's the first one I've got, but I want to get the one for every canal and river that we've been on. It's the start of a dangerous game. We were joined on our trip by Paul. Oh. Georgia's chopping a sweet potato. We were joined on our trip by Paul and Anita, who were also going through the lock flight, which is very helpful for us because it essentially doubles our crew. We just had 2 boats going through the lock at a time, ours and theirs, you know, both together. So Paul and I would drive the boat through each lock while Georgia and Anita would operate it. Paul and Anita didn't understand why we were eating chickpeas and mushrooms and salad for breakfast. I said we wanted something hearty to start off our day. They said we had a bacon omelette. And I said, well, that'll weigh you down, won't it? You're going down a lock, you have to be aware of this thing called a sill marker. Now, you can see when the lock is empty, a bit of it juts out, right? And when the lock is full, you want to make sure your boat is in front of that, because otherwise the water will drain and your boat will start to do that. As you can see by this hilarious warning sign. Warning signs on the canal are very funny. This one is like, careful, you might drop off the edge of the world. I have made Georgia lunch, since she's doing such a good job. I mean, I would have made it anyway. It's not it's not like you've earned food. Pinto beans, azuki beans, mushrooms, spinach. I put in mixed herbs, spices, turmeric, olive oil, salt, pepper, and balsamic vinegar. I'm sure it will taste interesting. Focus on me. Oh, well, focus on me. In total, our trip through the locks was about 5 hours. In the middle of the lock flight was a marina. Who wants to live there? Like, what a pain in the arse to ever go anywhere. So we made it to the end of the flight. We got to where the picture was in the Nicholson's Guide. We saw some very beautiful swans with their little swan children. And then we walked into the boat, and after 28 locks, it looked like we'd been burgled. Everything was everywhere. The boat had been rocking about so much, bumping against the other boat and against the lock gates. Everything was everywhere. Dead. We celebrated by playing Arkham Horror, my new favourite card game, and by making homemade pizza. The trick with pizza is you put the base in the frying pan and you cook it from underneath, right? You heat the bottom until it gets a little bit crispy, and then you take the whole thing and put it underneath a grill, so the grill does the top, and that simulates the effect of it being in a wood-fired oven. Georgia's in charge of dessert. What are you making there, love?
Berry chocolate chia pudding.
Oh shit, that sounds good.